Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining today's webinar, the launch of Emerald Court. Very pleased to be bringing this one to the market after a couple of years of hard work working with the developer. But after a few technical issues, I think we're all ready to go. So let's begin. So first of all, quick agenda then from us. Obviously, what we're going to cover today is we're going to run through a quick introduction. We're going to give you a bit of a market update. We always like to tell you what's going on in the market. We're going to talk about Digbeth itself and why it's a great place to invest. And we're going to talk about the opportunity itself, obviously, in terms of Emerald Court. Now, hopefully, with a bit of luck, John is also on the screen with us. Morning, John.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Yes,
Afternoon, evening, guys.
Technology works. So you've got myself, Andy Butts, I'm the New Homes and Investments Director here, and John Treacy, obviously our expat investment director. Any questions? Should I say, guys, any questions? There's a little question mark box in the top right-hand corner. It should be on your screen. So if you've got anything in there or any questions, pop them in there, and John and I will cover those off at the end of the presentation. So the UK property market then, so what's going on? We've got a couple of stats for you on the next slide, but for me, what I've seen this year in particular is probably a lot of people sitting and waiting. And now towards the end of this year, we've seen a lot of people coming forward to start to transact. And I think that's because of interest rates are starting to move in the right direction. I think we've plateaued at the top of where the probably investment or interest rate curves going, and obviously we've had one cut already, and there's an anticipated 1 to 2 cuts over the next sort of 3 to 6 months. So I think there's good news on the horizon in terms of actually lending and availability of mortgages. Average rents have continued to grow, so as a landlord and an investor, that's great news. Average rents across the UK are sitting at about £1,300. I think when you actually bring that into Birmingham, we're actually more like 1,400. So being the second capital of the UK, there's a little bit more demand in the city itself. Average 5-year fixed rate currently trending at about 4.88. Obviously depending on deposits and circumstances, but that's what the trend is at the moment, or the average for a 5-year fixed rate. Average asking price for properties in the UK at the moment is up at 371,000. And you can see the last stat is really quite impressive, actually. So the increased sales versus last year has gone up by 27%. So you can see 2023 was probably a slow year, but 2024 has kicked on quite massively, to be honest. So in terms of the 5-year house price forecast, so this is taken from the likes of JLL, CBRE, Knight Frank. But you can see house prices across the UK over the next 4 years are predicted, if you can see in the top left-hand corner there, predicted across the UK to go up by just over 21%, which is, again, quite a big jump. And you'll see we put a couple of stars around the West Midlands because we're talking about a Birmingham development here today. And that's actually predicted to beat the UK national trend with an average increase over those next 4 years of around 23%. So it really is, I think, and John will probably echo this a bit later, a great time to get investing and obviously make hay while the sun shines and that capital growth continues to increase. Birmingham as an investment case. So obviously we're the second largest city in the UK. There's been a huge amount of investment from both private and government funding. We're going to touch on some of these projects, but Smithfield is one of the biggest regeneration projects to happen in probably over a century in the UK. So huge investment into Birmingham there. A really good stat as well. I think us, along with Manchester, we get the most amount of students that stay on after their graduation. So it's showing that the city is a great place to live, work and enjoy. And a huge percentage of the students, I think it's right up there in terms of 20-30% of students stay on and find employment in the city. And they're the perfect tenants, what we're looking for, people that have spent a couple of years here at university have gone on to find their, their first jobs in their careers, and they're that kind of age gap between 25 and 35. And we see that as a target audience for a lot of the city centre rental projects that we're using at the moment, or we're involved with. So, John, I think you're going to take the master plan project from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate your introduction. Yeah, so Birmingham Master Plan, there's so many key points. We're going to highlight the main ones today. So if we go on to the next slide, please. So HS2 is obviously only going to Birmingham now. There's big news in the city this week where piling has started in Curzon Street, which will connect from Birmingham Curzon Street into Euston. It's just 45 minutes. Now that is, a lot of people are just taking this for granted now, but what you tend to see with these projects where people kind of forget about it, and then in 2030, 2033, when it's actually open, that really changes the impact, and people then start to move to Birmingham a lot more. So it's kind of early in the stage, but this is, the trains haven't been really updated since the Victorian times in some respects. So this is one of the biggest projects ever to be completed in the UK. So that's number one. Next slide, please. As Andy touched on, Smithfield Market. So, as you can tell by my accent, I'm originally from around Birmingham. So, Smithfield Market is actually the old market in Birmingham. So, this is right bang sitting in the centre of the city centre, right next to the bull ring. But this is once in a lifetime regeneration. So, you've got, if you go on to the next slide, it explains a little bit more. So, you've got leisure. You've got F&B, you've got high-spec spaces, you've got green areas, and it's huge. Right now it is like a size of about 3, 4, 5 football pitches. It's there, and it's going to be over the next 5 to 10 years. All of this will take place. The main contractor is Lendlease, who are very world-renowned. They did a similar thing in London in Elephant and Castle, and that's had a huge impact on property prices. And Digbeth, where we're looking at today, is right next door to Smithfield. So the Ray Valley Urban Regeneration. If we go on to the next slide, so Ray Valley is the Digbeth area. So Ray Valley, there's a river Ray, and that can't be seen currently. So that's actually been risen with this plan. Emerald Court, the project we're looking at, is right in the middle of this plan, which is to build new homes, to create green spaces, and to create what's deemed as, for a lot of people, as the creative quarter of Birmingham. So this project today, Emerald Court, is right in the middle of this plan. So you've got HS2, you've got Smithfield, and then you've actually got a regeneration Digbeth itself. So 3 major tick boxes for us. Okay. So within Digbeth, you've got some iconic landmarks. Custard Factory has been around for decades. It's a very creative quarter. There's lots of events there, very popular, and it's seen as a very sort of trendy place to be around at weekends and things like that. Next slide. So Tea Factory. So this is the new BBC studio. So this is going to host the likes of MasterChef. I understand that Peaky Blinders are going to do some of their movie filming around these locations. So this is a real feather in the cap for Birmingham, bringing one of the BBC's main regional studios to Birmingham, and also to Digbeth itself. So that's going to be deemed a Tea Factory, the big kick-off event in about a week's time in Birmingham for that. Okay. Box Park. So those that are familiar with London, Box Park is synonymous with a lot of events in London. Box Park has just signed a deal to come into Digbeth. This is £5 million of investment, going to create over 200 jobs, but also another very iconic space which will be used for lots of events and gigs and things like that, bringing a lot of footfall to Digbeth. Okay. Warnersfield. So this is a more of a corporate angle. So Warnersfield is a BTR, built to rent development of over 1,000 residential homes. So this is going to be led by the likes of Dandara. We're going to build high quality homes which are built to rent out, normally by pension funds behind it. So this shows that Digbeth has got the green light from the big PLCs to invest into. So we're before this. We're going to Emerald Court will complete way before this, so it's a chance to get in there early before the likes of these big developments are going in. But this isn't to buy, this is just to rent out, but it just shows you the quality of people and clientele that Digbeth is attracting. Okay, so the final piece of the jigsaw for me is always about transport. So we always say, when I sold London 15 years ago, was always be 5-10 minutes away from a tube stop. So Birmingham at the moment, for Digbeth to this site, would be about a 10-minute walk into the city centre. Now this is actually going to connect you to HS2. If you go to the next slide, it'll show a map. So if you go from Emerald Court, you're going to be about a 3 or 4 minute walk to the tram stop, which opens next year. And then once HS2 will open, you'll actually go from Digbeth all the way up to HS2 in just a couple of minutes. So you can walk 3 minutes to the tram, then for your tram to HS2, then 45 minutes into London. So there's no better location. You'll be able to go next year from the tram stop into the rest of the city centre, all the way to the Jury Quarter, all the way into New Street. So this is the final piece of the jigsaw. This opens next year. It's on Ball Street in Digbeth. So, you know, another major piece of news to why this is a good investment. Okay. So just to summarise, HS2, Smithfield, Ray Valley Urban, and then the host of things going on within Digbeth. So we normally look for 2 or 3 tick boxes, and you've probably got 5 to 6 of major things, and 2 of them are 2 of the biggest things happening in the UK, which is HS2 and Smithfield. So a lot to think about. Okay. Oh, back on to Andy.
Yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, I think, as you can see, huge amount of regeneration planned and earmarked and already well underway in Digbeth. So great place to be investing at the moment and really get on board while it's still on that upward trend, which is what's really important. So a bit of an aerial shot really to show you the development itself. So again, really pleased to be bringing this to the market. We've worked on this for probably the last 2 years now, going through the planning process with the client, the purchase process, and working with him to really understand the target audience and the delivery of this. So first of all, just to give you the aerial shot then, so you'll see Emerald Court at the bottom of the image there. That's the development itself. We'll show you in a couple of screens or a couple of slides what it looks like at the moment. But you can see all the pins there that are dropped. So Smithfield is number 3. So it's literally the bottom of the same road. All that regeneration is taking place. So it's going to attract a huge amount of leisure, retail, residents, professionals into that market. Number 4, as you can see there, is the Grand Central and Grand Central Station. So that links then to number 5, which is the Bullring. Obviously number 6, the famous Selfridges that you can't really see from that image, but yeah, obviously a very well-known Birmingham landmark. Number 7, you've got Moore Street, and number 8, you've got HS2. So that's where the Curzon Street station is going to be. So at the moment, that Curzon Street station is around a 20-minute walk from the development. It's just under a mile. But as John said, you can walk to the metro once that opens, which is probably a 5-minute walk from the development. And then once that connects to HS2, that'll be another couple of minutes. So the commute to both stations in terms of Snow Hill, Moore Street and HS2 are literally on the doorstep. The site opposite as well, labelled as number 2, that's again a huge planning application that's currently in for a local developer, again, to build apartments. So the whole area is going through a huge gentrification process. And as you can see, there's cranes in the distance and nearby. So there's a lot of residential development that's already been delivered there. Emerald Court at a glance then. So what is it that we're selling? So it's only a small, what we call a boutique development. So they're quite individual units. There's 29 in total. We're going to be bringing to market 14/15 of these and a mixture of 1 and 2 bedrooms. The price point, we're going to start at 227,000. And on a selection of these, we're asking for just a 10% deposit, which usually in our market, we're asking for 20%. So it means you've only got to commit anything from £27,000 until build completion. So it's a massive ticket there to get involved. It's due for completion very early 2026. So it's probably up to about an 18-month project. We're putting 18 months on it just to be safe. Again, you're going to have very modern, contemporary interiors. It's got a centralised courtyard, which the building wraps around, which we'll come on to show you a bit more about it now. So here's a flavour of just some of the internal images that have been produced, but just going back to working with the developer over time. So things you'll see is really good light. So a lot of them have floor-to-ceiling windows. We've done a lot of research in the tenant space. So we really understand what tenants want. So we've got what the top 5 things that tenants look for. And we've tried to tick of many of those boxes as possible. The second image on the right hand side there, you'll see the kitchens. We're putting bespoke herringbone tiling behind each kitchen splashback area. The worktops are going to be solid quartz, not laminated, which you see in a lot of these developments. The integrated appliances are going to be Bosch or equivalent. So, the developer is delivering something that's very durable and tenant safe, as well as the bathrooms, lots of tiling, making sure that it's a wet area, and make sure it stands the test of time. Because as investors and landlords, the last thing you want to be doing is going back in and replacing tiles or worktops and the things that really should be eradicated at the start through the planning process. So really nice specification coming in. Then on to the developer. So Sankari Group are the developer. Now they've been working on a number of projects around the Midlands and particularly the West Midlands over the last few years. They're very focused on smaller developments, but also ones that are very investor driven. So they like apartment schemes. They're very active in and around Digbeth and the Birmingham area. We've got a 10-year warranty in place from Protec. So in terms of new homes building cover, which most people know that as, Protec are on all the lenders' panels, so there's no issues with the warranty there. So that's a little bit about the developer. And then the site itself, you can see there, so draw your attention to the one in the top left-hand corner. You'll see the site in the middle, the flattened site. Obviously, the demolition has been done. As you can see there, it backs onto the green space, which is Highgate Park. Now, number one in what tenants want is green space. So first of all, we've got that ticked with Emerald Court. It backs onto the park there, so people can get out into the open space really quickly and really easily. There's a few other images obviously showing the site itself, but yeah, demolition has taken place. They're on site now, just beginning the groundworks. And as time goes by, we'll bring you probably quarterly build updates and progress updates. But it's nice to see the developers on site and there's activity already rocking and rolling there. John, I think you're going to take the slide from here.
Absolutely. So yeah, so great news they're on site already, which is quite rare. A lot of projects get a number of sales in before they actually start to build. So that's a good sign of liquidity with the developer. So look, just 15 apartments that we're launching. We've already taken a reservation on 23, which is one of my existing buyers. He actually bought into Digbeth 1, which is just 300 meters away. A number of clients in that project who bought with us are looking at this project because they've done very well. Mortgages versus rents. Rents are really strong, paying off the mortgage each month, and they've got capital growth, so looking to go again in the area because they see the benefit. So that's sold. There's a mixture of 1 bedrooms, which are a good size, circa 550 square feet. You've got 2 bed 1 baths, and you've got 2 bed 2 baths. Different layouts, different designs, but prices from 227 on the 1 beds and around 270 on the 2 beds. So yeah, if we go into the next pics. Okay, so key takeaways about the project. So bit of detail. Service charge is low, £2.45 per square foot. Obviously, location wise, we've discussed extremely close to HS2, to the tram stop that's coming in and to the city centre. You've got high rentability, professional market tenants. So the tenants that we've had experience with in Digbeth 1, which will be the same as this, are professional tenants working in the banks, HSBC, Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, this kind of tenant profile, 25 to 35-year-old. Fact, Birmingham is the youngest city in the UK and one of the youngest cities in Europe. So you've got people who want to live and work in a city centre and be close to the amenities, and Digbeth ticks all those boxes. So that sort of clientele is what you'd be expected to rent out to. Obviously, Birmingham's expected to grow, as Andy mentioned, 23.4% as part of the West Midlands in the next 5 years. So you're going to get into somewhere that's got transport links, you've got a growth potential, strong rentability, circa 5.5 to 6% yields, and a really exceptional payment plan. So for us, this is why it comes out as an exceptional opportunity to invest. Okay, next slide. Okay, so pre-sales start today. for the general public. It's just 10% exchange on the first 5 units. So that just means you can get in from £27,000 for a 1 bed, and 22.7 for a 1 bed, and 27 for a 2 bed. And you can just inquire with us and we can discuss cash flows, unit picks, orientation of units, and a one-to-one consultation. All right, next slide. So best pick right now on a 1 bed would be apartment 20, which is a really good size, 550 square feet, going to rent for circa £1,100 to £1,200 per month, which will give you a really nice yield, over 5.5%. And on a 2 beds, you've got 17, which is a really good sized, well organised apartment, which is a 2 bed, 1 bath. Again, you're looking at around 1,300 to 1,400 on the rental side. So there's still some extremely good units available with best views. There's one's looking on the front, one's looking on the back. So just get in touch and we can discuss the best pick for you over a one-to-one call or a meeting. Okay. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, brilliant. I think, yeah, just John, just to mention, obviously that one at the bottom, apartment 20, those are the rear views. So those are just on the 3rd floor that will look into the park. So that's quite a nice, nice point on that one. Okay, questions then. Let me just check to see what we've had in. Okay, I've got one questioning the rental predictions, John. How accurate are these rental predictions?
Yeah, as I touched on, we have first-hand experience. Myself and my colleague Sean, who's off on annual leave today, we've sold around 100 apartments in Digbeth 1, which is literally 300 metres around the corner from here. So the 1 beds are ranging between 1,000 to 1,200 on there. So and this is a brand new development, so I'd expect circa to 1,100. So really strong rental and performance there. A lot of happy clients. On the 2 beds, you're looking between 1,250 to 1,450. So we're kind of taking the median there as well. So we've got some live data, and that goes for the same for valuations. We sold a lot of properties there which valued for higher prices than this. So this is really exceptionally priced, price to sell for sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's worth just adding there that obviously we always produce or work with an independent agent as well. So we've got an independent rental appraisal to back that up. So it's not just our figures that we're talking about there. It's an independent valuation as well, which is good. So I've got another one here, John. I don't know if you want to take it or me, but it's around the warranty. I think just some clarity on what that means, the 10-year warranty.
You could take that one, please, Andy.
Yeah, fine. So I suppose just to break that down then, so every new build that's delivered has to have a warranty in place, and it's known as a 10-year new homes building warranty. Now, there are different providers in the market, from ProTech, who we've mentioned, through to NHBC, which is one of the more historical ones. A couple of things we look for is obviously we have to make sure that there's a warranty in place, which there is, and we've seen. Secondly, we want to make sure that it's a warranty provider that all the lenders will accept. So ProTech is one that's mainstream. You're not going to get lenders kind of turning up saying, oh, they're not on our provider panel, so we won't accept it. So it's just a point that we'd like to clarify to make sure that everything is kind of, ready, willing and able to be to proceed with mortgage applications and stuff like that. So yeah, 10-year warranty. Generally in the first year, it will cover more shrinkage, cracks, stuff that's generally the norm, and then over the 10 years it will slowly phase out through to or down to any structural issues and whatnot. So yeah, nice bit of, when you buy new build, it's one of the perks of buying new build. Okay, cool. In terms of delivery, someone's asking about time frame. So as John mentioned, we're taking reservations now. What you would do is lock that in, put your 10% down, and there's no more payments then until build completion. Build completion is set for Q1 2026, so we're talking 18 months away, just to be clear. So you reserve the unit now. John, do you want to talk through maybe just that process, reservation and legals and whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'd have a one-to-one consultation, pick out the unit apartment which is best for you, 1 bed, 2 bed, 2 bed, 1 bath, 2 bed, 2 bath. Once you've decided on that, we check it's available. We then take a reservation fee of £2,000, which forms part of the purchase price. And we then put you in contact with the solicitors, and then you'll exchange on contracts in circa 3 to 4 weeks' time, where you pay 10% minus that £2,000 you've already paid. So really easy process. We pride ourselves on helping clients all along the way to find good solicitors that will make the process nice and simple for you and get you to exchange with regular updates during construction period. We can also help you to get a mortgage if required, and also rent the property out for you. So the full 9 yards, and then you're into this market which is obviously set for so much growth and potential over the next few years. All right.
Brilliant, thanks, John. Yeah, I think that covers all of the questions we've got in. So, look, guys, please reach out. You can find us at centrickinvest.com if you haven't got our direct contact info. But yeah, really pleased to be bringing this to the market and looking forward to the next couple of months getting this sold out. Cheers for your time, John.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.